So for anybody who doesn't yet know me, I am Casey McGuigan. I work as the Senior Product Owner for Slingshot, which at the end of the webinar, you'll get a little glimpse into, hopefully, as long as we have some time and we get through everything else. So first, the reason you're all here, though, of course, is data storytelling. So let's get started with a quick agenda. In this webinar today, we are going to touch on the importance of data visualization and understanding your audience's needs, how to really construct your data story, and some best practices for data visualization. At the end, as I said, hoping to do a super quick demo on how you could potentially use Slingshot to accomplish the things that you are going to see in the presentation today. So, diving into first the importance of data visualization. Us as humans, we are programmed to think visually. So take the example here that you're seeing on the screen, where on the left-hand side you have a table and on the right-hand side you have a bar chart. Both are actually showing the exact same information, but on the right with data visualization, it is much easier for you as a consumer to gain quick insights off of this. So why is that? So quick facts by the numbers here are 65% of people are just visual learners. We process images 60 times faster than text. It takes only 13 milliseconds to recognize an image. And this then becomes even more apparent when we start to think about our attention span. We as humans, in the year 2000, the average attention span was just 12 seconds. And this has since even fallen to 8 seconds. To put that into a little bit more perspective, the goldfish is believed to have maintained the solid line of 9 seconds. So, this makes effective visualizations more important than ever. We need to help our users who are going to be consuming our visualizations and dashboards understand complex information faster. So, charts take your rich data, your raw data, or often known as KPIs, and make them more consumable for your users. Your multiple charts are then what make up what we call dashboards, which display one or more visualizations to help users make decisions and tell them a full story around all of their related data points. These dashboards can then tell a story that can be either explanatory or exploratory. And you can kind of see an example here of just a dashboard that has all of your related data points that is helping to tell a story in a way that users can gain quick insights from. So, to help you build the most effective data story, I'm going to run through 7 best practices for data visualizations. Starting first with understanding your user. Put yourself in the mind and the shoes of the consumer when you are thinking about creating dashboards and visualizations. Every visualization is telling a data story, and your job as the person designing that story is to have clarity on the story that you're going to tell and know your audience and their goals. So ask yourself first, who will be viewing these visualizations and what questions should the visualizations answer for that user? Then, do you need a single visualization or multiple to answer these questions? Do things like your chart title give context to your data, or do you need supporting text to help better tell your story? And finally, what techniques can you use to highlight important points in your story? Is the visualization and dashboard giving the consumer the info they need to then drive decisions off of? And we'll see a little bit more about how you can do things like highlighting important points and stuff like that in a few slides here. So next, after you understand your consumer, you want to ensure that for the data that you are about to visualize, you are choosing the right chart for your data. So there's, as everybody knows, a number of different visualizations and chart types out there that you have to choose from, but which is the best for you to get your story across most effectively? Are you comparing multiple data points? Are you doing a trend analysis? Ask yourself these questions will help ensure that you're picking the right chart to tell your story. We actually have a blog that runs through a little bit more details of these different chart types and when to use which that we can actually also include in our follow-up after the webinar today too. Okay, so next is using proper color and text. Color and text can help highlight what's important, or they can also derail your data story. So you want to use color in a way to communicate effectively based on your data, not just try to use color for like beauty or chart art or anything like that. So you can see in this slide here, we put in 3 examples for when to use different color palettes. So diverging color palette is best when there is a central value that is shared between both ends. So you can kind of see that there's a range in there from agree to strongly disagree, where your color in the middle would be your neutral. Sequential is when you're showing in order or your values, in order in your values. So if you're trying to show low to high or high to low. And categorical when there's distinct variables in your data. So like in the example there, we're showing territory where your APAC region doesn't necessarily relate to the Americas. You're trying to make a distinct category for your users' eyes as they're looking at your chart. In this example is you can kind of see how that color and text actually becomes important because this is not a good use of color and text. So the colors are too similar. There's not a proper use of fonts. 3D is often difficult to also read for, especially pie charts, but 3D can also be distracting for your users. And the labels on the pie chart slices are either missing or close to impossible to read to your eye. So next is avoiding chart junk. You want your user to focus on the visualization of your story, right? So you don't want to confuse the user with unnecessary information or graphics. Like you see on the left-hand side, we have 3D shading, you have heavy grid lines, boxing borders, odd font choices, background imagery. All the clutter on the left-hand chart makes it impossible for a user to just quickly gain insights. So while we want to make sure that your consumers have a lot and enough information, we don't want to overload them with unnecessary details like you kind of see here on the left. Our goal is to be more on the right, where it's clear, concise, and there's enough information for your consumer to gain the insights that they need. Okay, so next would be providing clarity with your data. This is super important when it comes to telling a story. So use available features in your BI tools or wherever it is that you're creating your different charts to ensure clarity in your story. So sorting is actually something that is so simple yet so powerful. If you look at the top row here, the difference in the story you can tell when you're able to change sorting gives users quicker insights into your chart, like instantaneously. So sorting alphabetically helps people find what they're looking for faster as their eyes travel down your axis. Sorting ascending helps tell your story of growth, while sorting descending helps compare like your largest to your smallest. Things like titles and subtitles give the user context that they need, especially when you pair them with things like your legend that you can see there on the bottom left. And some really added nice to haves for storytelling would be adding in trend lines and tooltips for your user as well. And then you can kind of see that as well in the bottom right charts there. So, I don't know how that keeps happening. Okay. Next is highlight what is important. Design your visualizations in a way that focuses the user on what's important about your story. So there are a few different ways that you can accomplish this. And we'll kind of just run down these. So highlighting series will draw your user's attention quicker to something. Conditional formatting will bring a color indication to what needs to grab your user's attention most. Annotations give your consumer more context and support for your story, so you can kind of see how you can add quick text to give users additional context into maybe in a marketing chart you've increased spend or you've decreased spend, or was something like COVID hit that you don't really necessarily see when you're looking at one chart, but you can add that as additional context to your charts to give more information to your users. Outlier detection will show the user what data points are kind of like outside of the expected results, so they are your outliers. And then series forecasting and linear regression help to not only predict expected results, but also plot trends between different variables. And then finally, number 7 is use effective interaction. So you, as the creator of dashboards and visualizations, want to allow your users to have interactions that will enable them to draw more insights and conclusions from your data. Features like filtering and dashboard linking will allow users to slice and dice data further to make more profound comparisons and drill down into deeper insights. So, with that being said, I am actually going to now switch, and it looks like we have about 10 to 15 minutes left. And I'm going to walk through a quick demo of how you can accomplish some of these best practices with data storytelling through Slingshot. So if I come into Slingshot here, and Slingshot is really your all-in-one digital workplace. So we combine all of these things around data that you're going to see around real-time analytics and creating dashboards and visualizations with your project management and task management, with communication, chat, and collaboration all in one place. So if I come here to my analytics, here's where I can start creating different dashboards and visualizations. So I'm going to come up here to the Add Dashboard button, and behind the Add Data Source, you can see all of the different data sources that you can connect right into. So for anybody, let's say marketing, GA4 should be top of mind for you. I think you have till July 23rd, if I remember right, to move over to GA4, but you can also connect into things like your Salesforce and Google Ads. We have a number of big data sources, social media, and databases up here. And then, of course, still the most popular data source to date, Excel. So, actually, when you come into Slingshot, we have 2 Excel files in here that you'll see that you can use for just kind of like getting your feet wet with creating visualizations. So I'm going to use the sample data, and basically all this is an Excel file up on the web. So these are all of the different sheets within my file, and since sales is so universal, let's just grab this sales sheet. And now I am in the dashboard editor here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly bring over month, and you know what, I'm going to compare 2 I'm going to compare my leads by my new seats. All right, so we're going to do my month here. And then I'm going to do my leads here and my new seats down here. And once I have the needed information for my chart, it'll come up here on the right-hand side. And I'm going to give this a title to be comparison of leads by versus new seats, so that my users know exactly what they're coming to look at. I can then add a description in here as well if I wanted to. And then just like that, I actually already have my first visualization. So I'm going to click the check up here. And what I can now do is add what we talked about, filtering. So I'm going to add a filter up here for date. And I'm just going to click connect. We'll automatically connect you to your date range and your data source. And let's say I want to look at the last 365 days. And once I connect to this filter, this has now become interactive, where I can, as we mentioned, slice and dice my data even more. What I want to also do is I want to also be able to filter and check out things like territory. So I'm going to do territory and connect this in, and I'm going to click create. And now I'm able to filter by not only my date range, but also my territory. So I'm going to take a quick shortcut here also, and I'm going to duplicate this. And I'm going to come into edit, and I'm going to, let's do some sorting since we said how easy and powerful that is. We're going to do a bar chart, and we're going to bring over product, and we'll do new seats by product only. And then we are actually going to sort this so we can quickly see for this date range which product that we're selling has the most, and then which one has the least amount of sales. Best practice also, these aren't in currency as you can see over here. So let's change this to a currency, and we'll hit update. Oh, it looks like it didn't update. I'll have to check out why that happened, but we'll hit the check up here. And then let's save this so we can actually do interact with the filters a little more. So we'll just call this a sales dashboard for now. We'll hit the check. I'm going to save it just to my own personal analytics. And now you can see that I can now interact with these different filters to get more information out of my data. And I can do like a little more. I can even change my date range where maybe I just wanted to see the last, let's say, trailing 12 months here. And I can hit apply. So the really amazing thing about bringing all of this data storytelling and best practices into Slingshot is then I am able to use Slingshot's other features to use my data really more effectively. So let's see, here I have the 3 territories selected for Americas, APAC, and EMEA. And leads new seats actually look pretty like sporadic here. And I kind of want to find out why. So I'm going to come up here, and I'm actually going to, let's start a chat. And we're going to start a chat with the product owners. And right from there, my dashboard came into this chat that I'm going to start. And I can pin this over here. And I can also annotate it. So let's grab an image, and we'll take a screenshot. And this way I can come and I can annotate this image so that the people I'm about to send this to know exactly what it is that I am talking about and referring to. So you can see now that an annotated image came in here. And then we can say, why are new seats so up and down for these regions? And just like that, I kind of went from looking at my data. This dashboard would definitely have more visualizations to tell a little bit better of a story. But I went from looking at the story that has been created through my data into being able to very quickly analyze it, into then being able to very quickly communicate and collaborate with my team around data. So now these data-driven conversations are happening, and say the result of this conversation with the product owners was we need more spend in APAC. What I can then do is, from the overflow here, I can create a task. And I'm going to create this task in actually the PPC project. For project tasks, I'll just put it here. It will bring in a link right to this conversation with the message attached. And I can do increase spend in APAC for next month. I can assign this out to whoever's responsible for my budgets and managing the PPC. We'll make it due for Monday, and then we can click create. So this whole flow that we have of using the data storytelling to communicate your insights more effectively flows very nicely into then using the data also more effectively by having these data-driven conversations and these data-driven actions right off of them. And that was just a super quick kind of like demo insights into how Slingshot can help with this entire concept. Today you can actually try Slingshot at slingshotapp.io. Or if you would like to also, let me just pop up here to my email. You can email me at kcm@slingshotapp.io, and I would be more than happy to also give you a very personalized one-on-one demo. Even with your own data, we can connect to your own data, and I can walk you through creating your first dashboard. So with that, thank you everybody for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you at the next webinar.